Hi, Tom. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I sideways?
Yes, you are sideways.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, marvelous. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Marvelous. Thank you both very much for joining me today. I'm not sure if you guys have met actually, so if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
Okay, shall I go first? I'm Linda and I've been working in the research team at Wisley for 2 years.
Marvelous. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
I'm Tom and I've been in the accounts team for 6 months.
Oh, nice. So you're fairly new as well. So this induction training you'll have just gone through as a new starter yourself.
Yes.
Marvelous. Well, you both know me, but I'm Lizzie. I work in the HR team and I'll be your main point of contact when you're inducting your new starters. So let me just quickly share my screen. Here we are. So welcome to Effective Inductions Virtually. So this is something that your department heads have put you on. And it's because I understand both of your teams are expanding and you'll be responsible for the new starters joining.
That's right.
Marvelous. So before we start, just to run over some ground rules, we're going to be about 25 to 35 minutes today. So hopefully not too long. So if you wouldn't mind popping your phones on silent and muting your emails. If I could just double check that you're both in a quiet environment where you're going to be able to focus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marvelous. And you're both comfortable, you've got a drink available.
Yep.
Yep.
Marvelous. And I never normally need to say this, but this is a safe learning environment and we just need to respect each other, our thoughts and opinions. And I just want to double check that you've both got something to make notes on and notes with, and you've got the email handout.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Marvelous. So Tom, you've just gone through the induction process as a new starter, but do either of you have experience as inductors?
No.
No, I don't.
Marvelous. So this is perfect for you guys then. So I will show you, this is what our aim is for the end of the session. So by the end of this training session, you'll be able to list and understand the importance of the 3 stages of induction and be able to design an effective virtual induction plan for a new starter using the most appropriate communication platforms for your department. So it's quite a meaty one, but we'll break it down into 4 objectives, which is list the 3 stages of inductions, name 2 ways successful inductions benefit organizations, identify 2 communication platforms that are most appropriate for virtual inductions, and demonstrate your understanding of RHS inductions by designing a tailored induction program for a new starter's first day that includes your chosen communication platforms. So that will become much more clear as we go through. So to start off with, the reason why inductions are so important is because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. I think we've all heard that phrase before. But there was a really interesting study done by Bamboo HR in 2019, and they found some really interesting stats. So shout out the answer, but what percentage of new hires leave in the first month?
9.8.
Yeah, I'd say 9.8. I would thought it would be lower, but yeah, 9.8, I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's actually 17.42.
Wow.
I know, nearly 20%. So the main reason for this was that new starters said they felt underappreciated, overwhelmed, underqualified, and neglected by their new employers. And as we'll go on to see, those are really easy to fix. And it all comes back to having those touch points with your new starter to make sure that they never feel like they're on their own. And what was the top desire of new starters during their induction process? Was it a company tour, equipment setup information and procedures, on-the-job training, a mentor, free food, their line manager to take control of their induction, or a review of company policies?
On-the-job training.
I would say a mentor.
Mentor. Interesting. So you're almost right there, Linda. they wanted their line manager to take control of their inductions, and that is why we're doing this training, and it's why HR are taking a step back and letting line managers take control. It's just, I think, a little bit better for new starters to really integrate into their team if their line managers taking control. So inductions can be broken down into 3 main stages. We've got onboarding, which is from the time the new starter accepts their job offer to day 1. Introductions, which is day 1 to week 1, and socialization, which is week 1 and beyond. Tends to last about 3 months in induction period. And why do you think it's important to get inductions right?
So staff know what they're doing.
Yep. Perfect. So pretty much so staff know what they're doing. If we give them the right training to start off with, then they're more likely to be productive. They're more likely to integrate into the team a bit quicker. They're going to be more effective more quickly, so you're able to share that workload with them. You'll get high morale, so your new starter will feel really valued and appreciated, but also your team will be able to, again, share that workload, and they'll get a bit of a boost. It reduces staff turnover. As we've just seen, you're less likely to lose your new starter. And it protects the organisation from reputational damage. So we can be all bells and whistles during the interview stage, but if we don't follow that through into induction, we're going to get quite a high turnover and potentially reputation as a poor employer. So the next thing I've got for you is a little video, and just hold in your mind or jot down on your piece of paper anything you think falls into the onboarding category or the introduction category or the socialization category, and then anything that really stands out in your mind as something that worked really well or something that could have been done better. So you have to forgive me for the music in this. There we go. So that was the little video that I think really highlights the onboarding, introductions and socialization process. So I can see you both pop yourself on mute, but if you wouldn't mind coming back off and just sharing anything that you thought was particularly good or particularly bad that was highlighted in that video.
In the first part, they obviously provided him with no information prior to his getting there. So it was all a bit, well, confusing for him when he got there finally.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, carry on.
They didn't introduce him to anybody either. So when he got there, he didn't know who anybody was, or so he didn't know how to do his work, really.
Yeah, exactly. And he didn't know how to get there, and then he didn't know who to reach out to when he did arrive. And that is what we're going to look at now, is exactly how we onboard successfully, how we do our introduction successfully, and how we socialize our new starters. So the practical elements of each is, for the RHS, we do a welcome pack and an introductory email. So in the onboarding, that is what you guys will be responsible for. And then with introductions, so this is how Enzo could have been introduced to everyone, so he knew who to go to for help. So on day one, a team introduction, a general introduction to the organisation, an introduction into the expectations and responsibilities of their role and how they fit into the team, health and safety, systems and processes, and an orientation. And obviously orientation used to be on site, like with health and safety, running over all the fire escape routes and trip hazards, but now it's much more health and safety online, and an orientation online of where we store all our information and folders and things like that. Socialization, so this is week one up to about the 3-month mark, is more introductions and social activities with the team, with the wider organization, and then their 3-month probation and their annual appraisal are really good touch points as well to find out how they're getting on in the organisation. So now we're going to go on and look at onboarding more specifically. So in the RHS, we send out a welcome pack and an introductory email. And in the welcome pack, you will have both received one. We've got general information on the RHS, your team structure, your login details for Citrix and their personnel account information, so their emails, and then the structure and their contacts for the first day. So in the onboarding section, your responsibilities are to complete the team structure for your department. So you just need to drop your organisation chart into the welcome pack. You will need to structure your new starters first day, which we'll go on to work on a little bit later. You need to include any new mailboxes that they need and log a request with IT. And you also need to write their welcome email. So luckily for you, I've got a draft welcome email so that you can use that as inspiration. And don't worry about copying all of this down either. I'll send you the slides afterwards so that you've got it. But this is a rough new starters email. And you can see there they've got the welcome to the society and the team that they're joining. This is a bit of a silly one because you've got the Pelican team and your Roald Dahl in this one. You've got what his role is in the team, information about the welcome pack, information about their role, responsibilities. A Zoom link can be really helpful to include in that welcome email so that they've got that first bit of communication going. They know exactly on their first day, they just need to click on that link and they're sorted, especially if they're having trouble logging into their emails or Citrix or anything. They've been sent the first Zoom link. Then you've got their useful contacts. So in there, you would put my contact, then you would put your head of department, and then you'd put your own details. And then you just say you're really looking forward to meeting them. So that is your responsibility with onboarding, is the welcome pack and the welcome email. So then we're going to go on to look at introductions, which is day 1 to week 1. And this is also known as information overload week. Especially with now that we've gone virtual with our inductions, and because a lot of the information is now coming in the form of emails or notifications or Skype messages, it can feel like quite a lot for a new starter to be faced with, especially when they don't really know anyone they're working with, or they might not be too comfortable in asking for help. So we really want to make sure that the first day really involves a nice warm welcome from you and the team, just double checking they've got access to all of their emails and their portals. They'll have an introduction with me where I'll go over their finance, payroll paperwork and their right to work. We'll do their tool shed and all their induction courses, and it's really important that they take their cybersecurity training on day one. Now that we are all virtual, they need to know how to be safe online, and that they've got intranet access. So that's day one. And then week one is just almost more of the same, really. One-to-ones with a few members of the team. I like to call them cups of tea at 3. So then you just have a half-hour cup of tea with each member of the team. Meet with your department head. Get involved in work meetings, or if you still do those Friday Zoom calls or Zoom quizzes, they can get involved. And by the end of week one, they should be confident using all the communication tools and accessing their mailboxes. Those are the 3, the cybersecurity, ergonomics, and introduction to RHS. Those are the 3 courses that they have to take in week one. They should be confident using the internet, so how to log their holiday, their sickness, how to access the e-learning portal. And they should have a really clear understanding of the expectations of them in their role and their place within the team. So that is onboarding and introductions. And the third stage was
socialization.
Yay, socialization. So with onboarding and introductions, there's almost like a tick list that you can go down. With socialization, it's a little bit more wibbly because it is how they're integrating with the wider RHS, and it involves those feelings of being overwhelmed, being neglected, being unappreciated. So that is really how we target those, and it is very difficult to do it virtually, but there is a few practical things we can do to try and make sure that we are there for our new starters and they've got opportunities to raise their voice if they are feeling overwhelmed. So within your team, you can do things like team meet and greets, which you will have done in your introductions, meet and greet with your head of department, a buddy system, so you are their buddy for their first 3 months. Calendar invites are really useful. So calendar invites before they start with your team, just so that they have things in their calendar to look forward to and they feel part of the organization already. Regular and recurring one-to-ones. Meet with other relevant teams. So for example, Tom, you're in payroll. So you're going to have contacts all across the RHS with lots of different teams contacting you. So in their first couple of months, it might be really useful for your new starter to be introduced to one member of each team, and then they've got a point of contact there if they need to reach out. Virtual team activities, so again, that's those Zoom quizzes. And then their 3-month appraisal and annual appraisal are really good touch points to make sure that they are fitting in well. And then socialization within the wider RHS. There's a lot of different options here. So they can join RHS Voices. They can be our mental health first aider. They can take up an apprenticeship if they want to. The deadline for that is quite soon. Or they can join our community outreach team. They're the more sort of serious options, and the more light-hearted ones are the RHS Choir, the Q to Wisley race, and I think Q have won every year so far. So if either of you get a runner, we'd love to have them as part of the team because we need to win one year. The flower arranging group, yoga classes, which are now hybrid and every Wednesday lunchtime, and the Hilltop Live talks. There's 2 or 3 of those a day. And they're generally scheduled when our breaks would be, so that's a good opportunity to go and mingle with the team. So now we're moving on to communication platforms. So those are the 3 stages, and this is really looking at which tools you're going to use to induct your new starters. So as we go through, just shout these out as they appear.
Microsoft Teams, Google Docs, WhatsApp, Zoom.
Marvelous. Some of these are fairly obvious.
Telephone?
Telephone.
Yeah, we can call our new starters. Oh, skip. There's 2 there.
Email,
Yeah,
Hangouts.
marvelous. And what do these all have in common?
They're all
Ta-da!
virtual.
Yes, they are all virtual. So all of these can be used. And it's a really good idea to have a look at what your team use most frequently and make sure that your new starter is confident using that communication method, so that they can get in touch really easily with anyone and they feel very safe using that. So are you both comfortable with Zoom? This is a little training video, but if you're both familiar with it, I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs.
I'm quite happy with Zoom.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with Zoom as well. I've used it quite a lot.
Marvelous. Well, as I said,
I'm using it right now.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, I will send you these slides. So if you do need a refresher, the video is just there.
Okay.
Marvelous. So now we're going to have a little look at scheduling your new starters first day. That this will be included in their welcome pack, and everything you put in here you can also put in their Outlook calendar so that they can see what's coming. So here you just need to pop in the time, the activity, who's responsible, and the communication tool you're going to use to induct them. So I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes just to have a quick go at scheduling your new starters first day. Here are everything we've already discussed about what needs to be included on the first day. So I'll just give you 2 or 3 minutes to have a quick go at that.
Okay.
Tom, I think you've dropped off there.
Sorry, I'm back.
Don't worry. Marvelous. So how are you both getting on with just quickly drafting up your first day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Do either of you want to share how you started?
Well, yeah.
Really.
I sort of. Sorry.
Go on,
did
Tom.
you want to share?
Yeah.
Well, I thought the sort of virtual welcome would have been, prior to actually starting. So,
Yeah.
the Friday before the Monday, for example.
Yeah. Linda, did you want to share or not really?
No, not really.
No, that's absolutely fine. So on this slide, I've got a draft first day. As I said, this will be included. So there are just a couple of things on here that I'll highlight. So the first one is the 9:30 start. So it is absolutely fine in the new starters first week to start them a little later and finish them a little bit earlier. Mostly because it can be quite a lot to take in. So shortening their days slightly for their first week is not a problem at all, especially if they are going from maybe being out of work to suddenly looking at a screen all day. It can be quite tiring. So that's absolutely fine. It also gives you time to get on with your own workload and make sure that you're ready to welcome your new starter each day. It can be quite time consuming inducting someone. So just make sure you are factoring in time for yourself. And the next thing to highlight is in here, they've got their welcome. They've got their discussion with HR about the right to work and payroll. They've got time in there to complete their induction training on their own. Then in blue, we've got the people they're meeting. So they're meeting their team leader, human resources, the head of their department, and a team meeting. So they're covering all the bases in day one. And then you've got your communication techniques. So you've got Zoom in there, WhatsApp or email, and then Skype as well. Oh, and then you've got an extra one that's covering all their health and safety training in the middle there. So how are you both feeling with going forward, structuring that?
Yeah, happy.
Yeah,
happy. Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Tailor it to your team. If you always have a team meeting at 11, don't send them to HR then. Include them in the team meeting and HR can just slot around your day.
Okay.
So any questions?
No, we will get a copy of these slides, won't we?
Yes, you will. Yeah, so there'll be all the information in there and you can reach out to me anytime as well. I'll be your main point of contact while we're inducting everyone.
Okay.
Marvelous. So just then looping back to the start of the session, we'll run over our objectives quickly just to make sure that we're all comfortable. So the 3 stages of induction are
onboarding,
marvelous.
Introductions.
Yep. Last one.
socialization.
Marvelous. And when do these happen? When does onboarding start?
Before the first day.
Pre-day 1. Marvelous. And introductions?
Day 1.
Marvelous. Day 1 to week 1. And socialization?
Any time after that.
Yeah, marvelous. Week 1 and beyond. And according to the study by Bamboo HR, how many people quit in their first month?
Far too many, 17-ish%.
Yeah, exactly. Almost 20%. So that is why it's so important to get inductions right. And why are inductions so important?
To decrease staff turnover.
Yeah.
Staff are more effective.
Yeah,
and productive.
More effective, more productive, more quickly able to support you and your teams faster. And all of that. So retention, high morale for your team, to protect the organization reputation, all those lovely reasons like that. And name 2 communication tools that could be used to support your induction.
Microsoft Teams.
Zoom, Microsoft Teams, WhatsApp, email, you can give them a call.
Google Hangout.
Google Hangouts, there we go, there's loads. And then the final one in there was about drafting an effective schedule for your new starters first day, which you've both had a go at. And how do you feel about using that and the draft one that I've just shown you to create a sort of a tailored plan for your new starter?
Yeah, happy.
Yeah, much more confident now. I've seen your draft. Really helpful. Thank you.
Marvelous. Oh, good to hear it. And final question, how confident are you feeling?
10.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident actually. That's been a really useful meeting. Thank you.
Great. Oh, well, you're very welcome. And as I said, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I will stop the meeting now and I will make sure I send you over these slides and I'll send you the welcome pack as well so you can get started whenever you're ready.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lizzie. Very helpful. Nice to meet you, Tom.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.